Hi, Catherine here from Circle Art Designs. Today we will be working on the 5th project for the Bargain Bead Box of November. This will be a knotted shag bracelet. For this project from the Bargain Bead Box, we will be using the 10mm Mountain Jade Dolomite rounds in green and gold. And from my stash, we will be using, from the Potomac Bead Company, the crystal faceted rounds in peridot. You'll see a lot of things on my mat. When I was recording this, I was trying to decide what I was going to use. You will also need nylon thread under 1mm, some head pins, and jump rings. And don't forget, you will need 2 sets of pliers and cutters and clamshells for this. Now to begin with, we're going to take a lighter and our nylon thread. We're going to heat it up so that it's melty, and then we're going to pull a string from it. This will make a needle for us to use. Now we'll take one of our clamshells and put it through the hole that's in the very center of the clamshell. Open it up and you'll have 2 sides just like a little clam with a hole right in the very middle. Put it from the back up, going right between both sections of the clamshell. I know it's not a very good picture. My hands weren't close enough. But that's what it should look like. It goes from the back up through the middle in the little hole and comes out with both sides of the open clam on either end. And now we're going to do a simple knot. What you'll do is make your circle, pinching it closed, and then you're going to go around to the back of the circle. So you'll cross one of the threads, and then you'll go up through the circle and pull slightly in a downward position so that the knot will tighten up right against the inside of that clam. It's not critical on the first one because you can pull the clam up against it, but all the rest of them, you really want to pinch your circle right against your bead or your clam, and then pull the thread down towards the bead as you tighten it. And now we're going to take our pliers and close the clam down, making sure that the little piece that your jump ring will go in, there's 2 sections, line up perfectly so you can get that jump ring in later. After I get that clam on, I cut my thread from the spool. Make it 2 times the length you want, plus a little bit. And make your needle on the end by melting your cord, just exactly the way we did the first time. Now I'm folding my cord over itself to make the loop, taking the end around to the back, and pulling it through, making sure that loop is right up against my clamshell. Give it a good hard tug. We don't want any big old knots showing. And now we're ready to start stringing. I have decided to use a pattern of peridot, dolomite jade, peridot, dolomite jade. And now we'll need to tie our knot. Make your loop by crossing your cord over each other, bring it around the back and slip it through, pulling down as you push the knot towards the bead. It must sit on the bead or you'll have to start that one over. Now we're stringing the dolomite jade rounds. We'll do the same thing as the peridot. We'll string it and tie our knot. Take your cord, cross it over, go around to the back, put your cord through the loop, and then as you're closing the loop, press down so that that cord touches the bead you just finished before you pull the knot tight. If it doesn't touch, take it out and try again. Which is exactly what I'm doing here. It wasn't quite close enough, so we'll try it again. A little trick, by the way, that I do sometimes is I get that knot almost all the way down to the bead, and then I put another bead on and I kind of use it like a battering ram, and I mash that knot all the way into the other bead and pull up on the cord, and that tightens that knot right against those two beads, and then I can take the bead off if it's not the one that I'm going to need for the next round. This is a really good shot of the loop that I'm talking about, where you cross over the front of the cord, then go behind and you'll put your end of your cord through that loop. Don't forget and skip the step where you tighten that knot down. It's really important. Okay, now I'm ready for the dolomite round. I'm sorry that my beading table is so messy. I wasn't really sure what I was going to use for this bracelet. I tried several different things before I decided on the 2 shades of green. All of them would have been pretty, but I like the simplicity of this. Now, if you do not have a ruler taped down to your workspace like I do, you will need to make sure you have a ruler out. Keep an eye on where you are in your bracelet. You will need to divide this into thirds. You want to have a third on each side and your shag in the middle. I've gone ahead and finished up the first section of my bracelet, and I'm ready to make the shag. For this, I will be putting my beads, about 6 to 8 on, depending on the size of your bead, on a jump ring. So I will need to first put them on head pins. You will need your wire cutters, and for this I am going to use just my needle nose pliers, and I'm going to take it and roll it down a couple of times before I put it on the head pin. You'll see what I mean. So here I am with my needle nose pliers. I take the end of it and I roll it 2 or 3 loops all the way till it touches the bead. That secures it for the jump ring. So I take my head pin, I put in an 8mm seed bead, and then I put the bead on that I want in the shag. I hold it across my finger, touching the tip of the bead so that I only have a finger's width, that's my pointer finger, between me and the wire and the bead. And then I clip the top, and then I'll go ahead and roll it down. As you notice, I ended with a peridot on the bracelet you see on the table. Therefore, I will put a peridot bead between each one of my jump rings once I get them made. And I do not know why I called it an 8mm seed bead. It is an 11.0 seed bead. I'm using a variety of beads to use in the shag portion of the bracelet. I'm using the peridot, but I am also using small, probably I want to say less than 6mm, maybe 4mm beads. These are rondelles in a crystal gold to kind of fill it out and give it some movement. Okay, not crystal gold. These are faceted glass crystal rondelles, but they're in the champagne color I use all the time. Again, we will be using the needle nose pliers after clipping the head pin and then rolling it down till it fits tightly against the bead. If you haven't already, would you please like this video and subscribe to the channel and share with a friend? Thank you very much. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead until I get all of the beads done for our first shag jump ring, and then I'll be back. I finished up, or am finishing up, the last bead for this first jump ring for the shag portion of the bracelet. I'm using round jump rings for this. I started with a medium. I have 4 sizes, so I guess it would be size 2 of the round jump rings. I believe I will go up to a 3 in just a minute because they kept jumping off when I tried to close the jump ring. You will open up the jump ring, use 2 pliers, take each side and twist with your wrist only one side to open the jump ring. Never pull it apart, always twist. And now it's a matter of just loading on your wrapped beads. When I do this, I start out with a big bead, and if I'm using 3 sizes and different colors, I mix them up, trying to be as random as I know how to be, so that it gives lots of different heights and sizes and color to the movement. So what I discovered was you have to be real flexible on how many beads you're going to put on and what size jump ring you're going to use. Here, I decided I wasn't getting enough on one side, so I changed sides and tried holding it on the other side to get the beads in. Flexibility, that's the name of the game. Never being one to just give up, I picked up that jump ring and I'm going to try stringing those beads one more time. to balance the size of the jump ring to the amount of beads you want on your shag, because you want the shag to be really full, but you don't want it to be tight, because if it's tight on that jump ring, they won't move around right. And voila, it's done. Now, I have made several of these bracelets to put in the shop, and I did move up to the next larger size. Because we ended on a peridot, we are going to put the shag jump ring right up against that peridot, and then place another peridot up against the shag and tie a knot. You want this to be real tight, but make sure you tie the knot. And it's the same as before. Cross your cording across the cord itself. This makes your loop. Go around to the back. Put the nylon needle through the back hole. Put that loop right up against your bead, and as you're pulling down, hold it tight against the bead to make the knot. And it should look like this. Now I'm going to do another jump ring shag and put it on the bracelet, and then put another peridot on it and tighten the knot down. If you notice, when you put that peridot on it, or you put the jump ring between your two beads, it holds that jump ring real tight, and yet because it's on a jump ring, you have the movement of the beads in between. It's really lovely. So after the second jump ring, I am putting on my peridot. Remember to go with whatever your main bead is that you have ended with that is also in your shag. That way you add to the fullness of the shag by the beads being on either side. And now it's time for the knot. Cross over the cord to make your loop. Go behind the cord and through the loop, and holding tight up against the bead, push down as you're closing the loop. And now it's time to finish the bracelet. Make sure you measure. Always measure. You want to make sure it's not too big or too small. And since I started or just put on a peridot, I will continue with the dolomite bead to continue the pattern. Brain lapse. This is getting lengthy again. So I'm not going to show finishing up the bracelet, but you will continue the pattern till it's the correct length. And then you will add a knot, a clamshell, put the knot inside the clamshell, cut it, and close your clamshell, and put on jump rings on both of your clamshells and add the closure of your choice. I'll add pictures. Thank you so much for beading along with me today. See you soon, Catherine, Circle Art Designs.